Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Bullying Reported Please podcast, where we tackle the tough conversations surrounding bullying, whether it's from the schoolyard, your own home, or the workplace, even in the church. Bullying can leave lasting scars on its victims, as well, believe it or not, as a perpetrator and the bystanders. On this podcast, we'll explore real life stories, practical strategies for identifying and addressing and preventing bullying behavior. So, whether you are a parent, teacher, educator, bystander, even clergy, administrator, cousin, sister, brother, this podcast is for everyone. That's the bottom line. It is for everyone. So join us as we advocate for a world where everybody feels safe. Let's create a safer environment. I am E. Jones Blacksher, your hostess of Bullying Reported Please podcast. On this episode, we'll explore and we'll ask the question first. Bullying, reporting it, is that for better or is it worse? Is it a hindrance or is it a help? And as we talk about this tough subject of bullying, let's explore. On a couple of weeks ago, we had a young man, Jason Jones, that I interviewed, and he reported bullying in his school. He told you what happened. The perpetrator was disciplined, and pretty much that's all it took in order for this young man to stop bullying him and remediation for the perpetrator. That was a great intervention, and the school took immediate and appropriate actions for the incident. Now, we find so many out there that say, well, I reported it, nothing happened, and my child was so distraught and so depressed as a result of this that they chose to take matters into their own hands. They chose to, for lack of a better word or a better way to put it, they chose a permanent solution for what could very well have been a temporary situation. So the question again, does it help or does it hinder? Is reporting bullying for better or for worse? Well, again, let me give you a personal testimony. While teaching, a young lady was, an incident of bullying was reported to me. Actually, I have two stories. And this particular incident, one of my students saw a young lady being, what he perceived as being pushed. She was pushed, she fell, and everyone was laughing at her. And of course, she went away crying. I don't know, well, I didn't know at the time whether she was physically hurt or it was just emotional. Well, the young man reported it to me. And I asked him, did he know who the student was? He told me no. And I asked him, would he be able to recognize that student if he saw her? He said, yes, he would. I said, well, I dismissed him from my class, and he knew a little bit, very little bit about where she possibly could be. And I dismissed him from my class and told him to go find her and bring her to me because I want to know what took place. And he did that. The young lady came, she was still crying, and I asked her what happened. And she told me that she was pushed, and I asked her, do you feel like you were being bullied? She said, yes. I said, well, if you don't mind, I'm going to investigate this. Is that okay with you? And she told me, yes, it was. This young lady was very shy. And she was an honor student. I found that out later, but it really didn't matter whether she was or not. But I found that out later. I went to the assistant principal's office and I asked him if he would investigate it. I said, there are cameras. right out there near the soda machine. There are cameras. And could you please roll the camera back and see exactly what happened? And he said that he would. And true to word, true to his word, he did just that. Well, we found out that what actually had happened while at the soda machine, a young lady ran, pushed the male student. The male student fell into the young lady, and the young lady fell down. And everybody laughed at her. So we actually found out that it was not a case of bullying. It was pretty much horseplay. Well, the end result was the young lady that ran and pushed the gentleman was disciplined. And not only was the young lady relieved that it was an accident, when it was a relief. It was a relief. I definitely stayed in contact with her. That young lady, imagine walking away from that incident, self-esteem low, and feeling really bad. She was sad. She was really sad, for lack of a better way to put it. She was sad. But having found out that it was actually an accident and somebody else's fault, can you imagine what it did for her? I stayed in contact with her. I checked on her. And right now, this student is in college, and she is doing exceptionally well in college. And she's looking forward to going back to school in the fall. I am so happy that my student spoke up and he said something. And he brought it to my attention. Yes, that is great. It is wonderful. In her case, it was definitely a benefit. It was a blessing. For lack of an even better way to put it, it was just simply a blessing that the young man saw fit to come and report what he had witnessed. Now, the benefit of seeing something, saying something, taking action. But on the other hand, as well, that's great. There was also another incident of bullying reported to me. I gathered information. I asked the questions. I got the witness statements. And I submitted all that to the administration. Well, that one came back with, I talked to them. I think they were just messing with each other, that they were picking at each other. So in that case, nothing was resolved other than a good talking to the students. Well, very shortly after that, those students got into a physical altercation. Thank God, nobody was hurt. And now those students have grown on up and went on about their separate ways. I can only imagine what could have happened if it had gotten any worse. So on that note, that worked itself out. They just grew up. What about those that don't? What about those that don't grow up? That's what I'm afraid of. The ones that want to take matters into their own hands. There have been way too many cases of victims getting fed up, either taking their own lives or they take the lives of others, mass shootings, or they go and they kill the perpetrator. That happened too. That happened as well. The young man, the case I heard about, the young man had been bullied and bullied and bullied. Parents took it to the school and nothing. Well, in this case, the perpetrator was the son of, yep, football coach, one of the school administrators. The perpetrator was their son. So nothing happened. Well, when the victim killed the perpetrator, now that's what happened. That's what happened. We have to take bullying serious. But of course, now, in light of what happened, the perpetrator, the victim killing the perpetrator, now the victim is charged with murder. Loss. 2 lives lost. 1 to the grave and 1 to the jail. Is it fair? Should that have ever happened? No. No, it should not have happened. We have to be a little bit more vigilant about that. So, the question, for better or worse, reporting bullying. Help or hindrance? Well, how can we know if we don't try? My mom always said, nothing beats a failure but a try. And one thing that we do know, if you don't try, you will fail 100% of the time. If you try, at least you stand a chance. And you can walk away with your head held high and your chest stuck out saying, I tried. I tried. How many times have we observed folks being bullied? Observed somebody being bullied, and we chose to say nothing. We were torn between saying something or not. We don't want to get involved. That's a bad person. That's bullying. What if it was your family member? What if it was your child? Your sister? What if it was your mom or your dad? How many times have we been bullied and didn't say anything? How many times we reported it and it wasn't taken serious? Wasn't investigated? I mean, or if it was haphazardly investigated. But you got to remember, only 20% of students report being bullied. 20% report it. Only 20% report it. So that leaves the other, let's just say, let's leave the other 80% that's been bullied. They don't report it. We don't know anything about it. But somebody witnessed it. Somebody did, for the most part. Somebody did. With cameras in the school, cameras in and out of the workplace, we have ways, especially in the school. And most perpetrators will not do it in a place where there are cameras or public places. So a lot of times this happened in bathrooms, somewhere away from cameras. But how are we going to ever know if it helped? How are we going to ever know if we don't try? That's the question. That's what we have to do. We've got to educate. We've got to advocate for victims and the perpetrators. What are you going to do? You're going to just sit here and watch someone's life be tormented? Are you going to sit here and you tormented for the rest of your life? lifelong effects. Reaching out to someone can change the trajectory of their life. Don't be a bystander. Speak up. Speak out. And I ask you to dig deep, and think about, pray about, discuss it, talk about it more, about bullying and the effects of bullying. There are many resources out there for the victims, again, as well as the perpetrator. I'm advocating for all of them, for everyone. Because I can only imagine what a parent, a loved one, grandparents are going through when they lose a child to any form of violence or any form of depression, any mental health issues. It doesn't matter how. The pain is still there. So I'm going to ask you right now, again, speak up. Speak out. The life you save could very well be your child, your loved one, someone you know, a friend. Let's do the right thing. Let's do the right thing. Report bullying. Let's stand together. Let's stand together and fight and fight. Fight. And let's make a difference in the lives of our children. One child, one person at a time. And let's share it. Let's keep it going. Let's pay it forward. Somebody help you, you help somebody. Pay it forward. Pay it forward. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm E. Jones Blackshear, your hostess for Bullying Reported Please podcast. Let's stand together against bullying, one report at a time. Please like, share, and subscribe so that you will get the notifications of a new podcast. Also, look for the relaunch of my webpage, bullyingrip.org, on August 1st, 2024. Again, that is www.bullyingrip.org. Coming to you August 1st, 2024. On that website, you will also see all the podcasts. Thank you.